Hi there, this is Vadim Michalenko, and in this quick video we're going to look at how you can replace your passenger side mirror for Toyota Camry. I have 2011 model, but my understanding based on my research that similar instructions are applicable for models from 2007 to the 2011. So stay here with me on this channel. Obviously, you can go to the dealership and pay a couple $100s to make a replacement. Or if you're someone like me, a family man with a lot of responsibilities and trying to save a buck here and there, then you would want to consider replacing it yourself. There are a lot of different considerations. A lot of times you don't even know what kind of mirror you have in your car unless somebody breaks it, right? But then you start caring about the color, about whether it is heated or not heated, whether you have a adjustment mechanism in this, the power controlled, whether it's made, do you want to buy new replacement, or maybe you want to save some money there too and buy a used one. So we'll look at all of these different considerations. Also look at the good vendors that offer those mirrors. So stay here with me on this channel. First, let me show you what I currently have instead of the mirror. It used to be a very nice mirror, but that's what happens when somebody backs up and just looks in that nice screen that modern cars provide that's supposed to give you the back view, but then forgets that the garage has walls, right? And you can hit the mirror by the wall. So very nice mirror, and I know modern cars have this 360 view, which is cool and probably wouldn't happen if this car had it, but it's only 2011. So that's what we are going to replace as part of this tutorial. One thing I was going to mention is that this is not the first time I'm replacing the mirror, and this is the second garage style accident that another family member had. But the first time I got lucky because I only had to replace the glass, and you can, I didn't even realize that you can replace just the glass, and you can buy just the glass. So for those who just got the glass broken, please keep this in mind, that you can buy the glass on Amazon, and it's pretty inexpensive. Like the one I'm looking at right now is only $21 with free shipping, and it looks like there's also a coupon available. So keep this in mind. But this is my second time working on this mirror, and looks like my second time I wasn't as lucky. I need to replace the whole thing, and I'm really excited building this tutorial, so if there's a third time I need to replace it, I'll have instructions for myself. When I started looking at the mirror replacement, I realized that there are a lot of considerations and a lot of choices that you need to make. First of all, you need to decide among 4 different choices. Do you have a heated mirror? Do you have power controlled mirror or not power controlled? You want to decide on the matching color. And there are different options for matching color. You can, for example, buy a non-colored mirror and then paint it yourself or ask somebody to paint it. But this is not the most cost-effective option, as I realized, because it costs about $50 just to paint it. So you're adding to the cost of replacement additional $50. And then the last piece, which some sellers mention, is manufacturer locations. Some cars apparently manufactured in United States, some in Canada, and some in Japan. So I'm not sure if this is necessarily important, as I'm not a big expert. I'm just, a family man trying to replace a mirror. But they asked questions, so I kind of went with the flow, and I looked at my serial number, and through the serial number you can determine which country your car was manufactured in. So we'll look at that in the details as well. So I asked my wife for help, and we were making decisions and going through this decision tree together. First of all, you can easily determine if your mirror power controlled or not. Same thing with heated. You can find out based on your car year and model. So that's easy enough to do, and Toyota provides a lot of good resources to do that. Toyota provides a website with vehicle information lookup, and this is where you can enter your VIN, and based on the vehicle information number, which is unique to you, You can find out what are the specifications on your car and what kind of parts you need, and what are the specs of the mirror, in this example of what we're trying to do, that you need to have for your vehicle. Your VIN number is located in one of the stickers. It's actually in multiple places on the car as you start looking for it, but you can find it. I found mine on the door. Apparently there's also one available by the windshield. So look for the instructions and look inside your car. You can pretty quickly find out what kind of VIN do you have. My wife also did a little bit of research. I was surprised that there are not a lot of colors actually the vehicle can have. So I was thinking, okay, red, maybe variations of red. Apparently there's only one Barcelona red metallic color for 2011, which is great. I found it very good. So I didn't have to worry. So when somebody like on eBay would write, this is the red mirror, I know that that's the right red, so I didn't have to worry about this. But this is the link, and again, all links are in the description, so make sure to check it out. And this is what you see is on one of the websites. I found this very helpful. So depending what kind of car color you have, you should be able to pick the right color for your vehicle. And then the last piece of the puzzle was how you determine the vehicle country of origin. I found a very interesting article here in Wikibooks. So apparently there was one encoding system prior to 1998, and then the new encoding system for 2009. So make sure to check it out so you know at least where your car was manufactured, and if you're trying to make a decision based on that and you need to select different model for the mirror, hopefully this would be helpful. So once we've determined what we need, our next step was to decide where do we want to buy it. There are a lot of choices, but we narrowed it down to two. One was Amazon, and second choice was eBay. My preference is always to buy at Amazon because I trust the vendor, and there are a lot of good choices here. But what I found out at Amazon, you only can buy unpainted mirror, and then you probably have to pay additional $50, as I already mentioned, just to paint it, which wasn't cost effective, at least for me. So you have to look carefully at your options. And then I started looking at eBay, and eBay, you got to keep in mind, sells used parts as well as the brand new ones. So with used ones you can get some cost efficiencies and make potentially buy it less expensively. But what you got to realize, this is probably the mirror from the car that was in the accident, and maybe the other side of the car or some other parts of the car were totaled, and that's how they get to the junkyard or some other places that collect those cars. Then they disassemble it and ship it. They try to sell it and ship it. So you have to be careful, and you have to know exactly what you want. You also have to make sure that you buy exactly what you need, and this way you don't have to worry about returns, because returns are always tricky, especially if you buy something that you don't need, and Amazon handles those much better than vendors, even though eBay got better recently, but I think they still could improve there. So I started looking on eBay, and there are obviously a lot of unpainted choices there as well. But I needed the red mirror, so I had to switch and find the red one that matches my color. Now I knew that the color I need is actually only one red. So for example, when you refine the description, and this is what I did, you can find something like this, and this is pretty much matches to what I have, and now I know that there's only one red, so I don't need to worry about variations. The decision was easy, and we made our purchase on eBay. Couple days after the order was received, I'm looking at the colors, they match perfectly, and now I'm excited to get started on this project. So let's go ahead and start our tutorial where we look at how to replace the mirror step by step. This is how my broken mirror system looked like. Yours certainly might look different, but the removal process is the same. I brought up my whole set of wrenches and screwdrivers for the job, but ended up only using one screwdriver and one wrench size 10 metric. First step in the process is to remove the cap from inside, and I use screwdriver to do that. Once cap is removed, you see the area that has an electrical connector and also 3 bolts that hold mirror from the inside. To remove them, I used my 10 size metric wrench, and I used it all manually. Unscrewing and removal of those 3 bolts didn't take very long, and disconnecting electrical connector also wasn't very long. But if you have more advanced system, maybe electrical wrenches or pneumatic system that allows you to do it faster, obviously you will do it even faster. And then the last step in the process is to remove the assembly. Now, as I had access to inside the mirror assembly, I did visual assembly of the new block just to make sure that everything looks the same, the bolts are in the same position, and the electrical connector is in the same position. Once I removed the old assembly, I ran into a little bit of a challenge. The gasket was still on the door. And I inspected the gasket and then tried to install the new mirror block, new mirror assembly on top of that gasket. But it didn't fit because it was leaving the gap in between the door and the mirror assembly. So something wasn't right, so I took it off, I inspected it, just trying to put it on top of that new mirror, and actually it didn't close, it was leaving the gap. So I ended up removing the gasket and installing my new mirror assembly without the gasket right on the door. And once I installed it, I repeated the process in the reverse order. I screwed the bolts in, and then after that I connected the electricals. And in the last step, I made sure that mirror assembly is tightly connected to the door and all bolts are tightened. And I put the cap back on from inside. And then the last step in the process was testing the mirror assembly installation from the inside. I switched to the right side on the passenger side and tried moving the mirror, and it was moving according with the direction I was giving through the remote control. So everything looked very well. I inspected it from outside as well. Colors matched perfectly, and there was no gaps in between mirror and the door, so I didn't have to be afraid about the rain or anything from the outside coming into that gap.
Have you enjoyed this episode? Make sure to subscribe so you will not miss the next one, and tell your friends about it. You can find links and downloads in the description section of this video. There are a lot of helpful links and a lot of other helpful information you will benefit from.
Make sure to check out my other relevant videos and subscribe to my YouTube channel. We have a lot of great stuff planned in the pipeline, and I don't want you to miss any of it. And if you'd like to get notified about all the new stuff that are coming out, make sure to subscribe to my email list as well. All links are here on the screen. Make sure to click to stay in touch. Thanks again for watching.